All right, this is part 3 of sample 6. The first instructions say to cut along the seam allowance at the armhole below the notch and etc. But it says hinge, and this is my point. That means put a piece of tape. So put a piece of tape at the waist, up here at the corner, another piece of tape, and a few more times in between. So that just means put another piece of tape right down that seam line. So basically I have a piece of tape from the underarm down to the waist, and I've extended my waistline out to the edge so I know right where it was. So now I can cut into my seam allowance at the armhole just below the notch. So that's right here. This is going to be a little bit different than how we cut and hinged before, because now I'm going to cut along that seam line, the dotted line right there. When I get to the seam, I'm going to turn the corner and go down to the waist, I believe it is, yeah. So my hinge this time is down here at the waist. So cut in to the waist, and now the seam allowance that's flapping is hinging at the waist because my addition is going to be up here. This person, like if they have a broad back, would be an alteration that you would use this for. So, and they want me to hinge a couple of times right through here. So we'll cut in to my seam allowance. All right, add my piece of filler paper, and it gets added to the shirt, because all my messing around is going to be with the seam allowance. So tape the filler paper to the shirt. And where I needed to add was 1/2 inch at the arm side coming out at the bottom. So 1/2 inch put me out to here. That dot right there. I'm going to need a hinge at the armhole later, so I'll put it in there now. So basically I'm just going to put this out. Probably can curve it just a little bit so it's not so dramatic at the waist. And there's that dot, so that's where I'm keeping this all flat. Hang on to that. Use those hinge marks to get that to fill in. Now you can see I've got this problem up here, or I have a problem up here at the top. This doesn't fit anymore. So with that hinge right there, I just tip that down, hinge it over until it sits back where it was supposed to at the arm side, and then tape that through. To square this back up again, first of all, I'm going to connect those two lines again, get my cut line back where it needed to be, and underneath the arm side needs to be a right angle, 90 degrees. So if you use the edge of your ruler right there, you can do this a lot easier. If you come up the side seam, where that's going to be flat, and I just come until I'm even with my arm side right there, and coming up my side seam right there, and I square that off. Hash out those lines right there, because they will be cut off. Leave that on so the TA can see that you did that. Don't cut that. They need to see that you were bright enough to hash out your old lines right there. And that would add 1/2 inch. So I increased 1/2 inch total increase equals 1/2 times 4 is 2 inches. And trim off all this excess. Yeah, you don't need all this. Okay, ta-da.